Good Tuesday morning out there, everybody. Hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend, and very importantly, a great 4th of July itself here yesterday. We did have a lot of severe weather across portions of the Northern Rockies, into the Northern Plains, and also across portions of the western and southwestern Great Lakes here from northeastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and into portions here of Illinois. Did have a couple severe weather reports across portions here of the monsoonal areas, and then getting into coastal South Carolina as well. No tornado reports today to speak of. We did have 37 wind reports here, with one of those being significant today, or rather on Monday, and we also had 12 hail reports as well, with 0 of those significant, with a total of 49 total severe weather reports here from your Monday, July 4th. So that is very significant to talk about. We did have kind of a wind event across portions of southern Wisconsin, northeastern Iowa, down into northeastern and eastern portions of Illinois. We did have some reports of 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, as well as some downed corn, some flattened out corn in spots across northeastern Illinois as well. We did have a lot of hail reports across Montana, getting into northeastern Wyoming, the western Dakotas, down into the panhandle there of Nebraska. A couple wind reports here going along with the monsoon weather, and portions here of South Carolina as well. As we flip the script here into today, we have another kind of, volatile day for severe weather across much of the northern U.S. here on the northern and northeastern fringes of a ridge that will continue to dominate across portions of the south central plains. We got 2 enhanced risk areas. We got one here across eastern Montana, getting into the western Dakotas, particularly into southwestern North Dakota, far northwestern South Dakota, and then another one here into southeastern South Dakota, northeastern Nebraska, northwest Iowa, into southwestern portions of Minnesota, and then a long elongated portion of a slight risk here from the Northern Rockies back down through the Midwest here and into the southern Great Lakes, including portions here of the Mid-Atlantic and the Ohio Valley as well. So portions like Cincinnati, down towards Charleston, West Virginia, Pittsburgh, over toward the Washington, D.C. area, Richmond, Virginia, back towards Chicago here once again, Peoria, Illinois, Des Moines, Iowa, and then getting up here into portions of Lincoln, Nebraska, and portions here as well into South Dakota. And then here, as we kind of look at the individual risks of what we could have with the hazards from the severe thunderstorm potential today, we do have 2 areas that we could have significant damaging winds here, 30% hatched areas here of some 75+ mile-per-hour wind gust potential. This is across eastern Montana into the western Dakotas here. Like I said, particularly across southwestern North Dakota, far northwestern South Dakota, and then again here in southeastern South Dakota, northeastern Nebraska, northwestern Iowa, and into portions there of Minnesota here in southwestern Minnesota at that. And then kind of an elongated area of a 15 or 5% here wind risk here, with winds that could be, up to around 70 miles per hour or so. That is definitely a possibility here across portions of the Mid-Atlantic, back through the southern Great Lakes, the Midwest here, and into the, northern plains and Rockies as well. And then looking at the large hail risk, we have a, elongated 5 to even a 15% hail risk across portions, again, of those same areas from the Mid-Atlantic back through the southern Great Lakes, getting into the Midwest, and then we have that 15% zone of hail across the northern plains, particularly across South Dakota, portions there in North Dakota, into Nebraska, northwestern Iowa, and then we have a significant hatched 15% hail risk across portions of southeastern Montana, into northeastern Wyoming, into southwestern and western portions of South Dakota. This is for potentially golf ball size hail or larger. That 2-inch or larger hailstones definitely could be possible as well. Not looking at too much of a tornado threat today. We have less than a 2% chance of tornadoes across all areas here today as well. And why this is happening is we have a very strong ridge of high pressure centered and kind of anchored across portions of the south central plains towards Dixie Alley. And on the northern end of that, we have all the instability building. We got temperatures underneath that ridge, the low 100s here from portions of Kansas down into Oklahoma, down towards the Red River there into north central Texas here, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, back into the 102 range, 103 range, up towards portions of Wichita Falls. There could be some areas, like I said, from western Kansas Kansas into portions of Oklahoma, northwest Texas that could touch up to 105 with the air temperature here this afternoon. We even have some mid to upper 90s all the way north here towards the Chicagoland area into northern Illinois, Iowa, southern Wisconsin, and then moving over towards portions there of North Platte, Lincoln, and then even Omaha, Nebraska as well, with lots of 90s occurring from the Tennessee Valley through the East Coast here, especially south of Virginia here, from Virginia on southward towards Florida. And then here are some cooler weather, relatively speaking, with mid 70s to lower 80s across the Pacific Northwest. Let's kind of dive into what we're talking about with the kind of the coverage of severe weather today. Potentially looking at the composite reflectivity, we got some quiet weather through most of the day, lots of sunshine across the Midwest, and that will really destabilize the atmosphere with lots of warmth and humidity here increasing through the environment today. This is mid-afternoon here today, maybe some renegade showers and storms across downstate Illinois, the foothills of Missouri, down into western Kentucky, a couple popcorn-type storms down into portions of the Tennessee Valley here, nothing too extreme. But as we get in towards the late afternoon and early evening, towards your dinner time frame, we have another kind of MCS cluster starting to develop and really propagate its way to the east-southeast across that enhanced risk zone, like I said, from southeastern South Dakota, northeastern portions of Nebraska, maybe some back building into north-central Nebraska. We'll have to watch for some flash flooding threats. And then here, the forward speed of this here will be, potentially over 40 miles per hour, and this could produce that damaging wind threat along the leading edge here, and especially northwestern Iowa, southwestern Minnesota. We definitely have to watch this coming in toward the Des Moines area. Could have some damaging winds. And then we have up to the north, we have kind of two things working here. We have an MCS moving in from the west here, from the northern plains into the Midwest during the afternoon and evening. We also have a lake front starting to push down from the north to the south here along the Michigan shoreline there, from central and eastern Wisconsin down into northeastern and northern Illinois. That's where we could also have some more storms firing up with a lift and convergence along that lakefront, that lake breeze across southern Wisconsin, getting in toward the Chicagoland area, Gary, Indiana, into portions there in northern Indiana. And that will continue to propagate southward. We could have some damaging straight line winds over 60 miles per hour. We could have some potential for some quarter-size hail across this area as well. So that is something to watch, and that will continue into your Wednesday morning, mainly transitioning to a heavy rain threat as we head towards the morning hours on Wednesday, but you cannot rule out some smaller hail and some gusty winds here kind of lingering into the morning hours on your Wednesday. And like I was mentioning, some heavy rainfall, torrential rainfall is possible with all the moisture in the low levels and mid levels of the atmosphere. We'll ring that out here, and we could have some heavy thunderstorms producing rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches or so per hour. And we could have, precipitable water values well over 2 inches here. So that's where we could see if any of these storms move over those areas with the precipitable water values around 2 inches. That's probably how much rain could get squeezed out of these storms. We got 1 to 3 inches of rainfall potential across southern Wisconsin and in northeastern Illinois. We also have some, Iowa statewide across portions of Iowa from Des Moines to the Ames area, getting up toward Waterloo, down towards Ottumwa, back toward the Omaha area, and then stretching back towards Lincoln, Nebraska. We could have potentially up to an inch or more of rainfall as we head from here this afternoon in towards your Wednesday morning. Now, looking up here, using the RAP model, this kind of covers this very well. Some scattered severe weather is possible across the western Dakotas and that secondary enhanced risk area from eastern portions there of Montana getting into the western Dakotas. Maybe some significant damaging winds here as well with a 75-plus mile-an-hour wind threat. Maybe even some 2-inch or larger hail as well here towards portions of northeastern Wyoming into the western Dakotas and into Montana here as well. Then as we kind of move forward towards your Wednesday, another day with all that severe weather scattered about out there here from portions of the Northern Rockies down through the Midwest, now getting down closer towards the Central Plains here as well, into Kansas and Colorado and towards northern Missouri. We got another slight risk zone here from the Mid-Atlantic, from the Carolinas up through Virginia and west toward the Illinois Valley. We have a slight risk across again. Much of Montana getting into the western Dakotas, northeastern Wyoming, the panhandle there, of Nebraska, with kind of a general marginal risk here in between in the middle Missouri Valley into the Midwest. And looking here at the wind threats here for tomorrow, that 15% wind zone here, kind of going with that marginal slight risk zone expectations. And then the same thing with the hail, except lower hail risk across the mid-Atlantic and Illinois Valley here, kind of with the less instability here, relatively speaking, across those areas. The higher instability will be across the Northern Rockies into the Western Plains, and that's where we can expect the potential here of some more prominent hail potential with some of those storms. But looking here at your Wednesday, July 6th, the ridge will still be in place here across the region. We got hundreds widespread from the Missouri Valley all the way down toward the southern and central plains. We could be approaching 105 in some areas here across Oklahoma, getting down into the Red River into northeast and northern Texas here. We got some hundreds over toward the Little Rock area, lots of 90s from the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, and southward toward the Carolinas and Florida. Some cooler weather starting to emerge across the Dakotas, getting back towards Montana as we head in towards your Wednesday timeframe with some upper 70s to mid 80s across those areas, and still that continued cooler weather for portions of the Pacific Northwest with low to mid 70s expected on your Wednesday. So let's kind of look at this on your Wednesday using the European forecasting model. This is a good model to look at here if you're looking at kind of the medium and long range. As we head into the afternoon hours here on your Wednesday, we got some storms to worry about here. Widely scattered showers and storms across the Ohio Valley and down into the Mid-Atlantic. Could be talking about some severe weather embedded in that here as you head into the 21Z time frame. That is mid to late afternoon on your Wednesday. Some scattered showers and storms up towards portions of the central and northern plains and the Midwest here as well we got to watch out for. And then this model does indicate a potential for an upscale growing convective system moving through Iowa, potentially into the Wednesday evening time frame here, and then another kind of smaller complex of storms into southern portions of Ohio and northeastern Kentucky, moving into West Virginia as we head toward the evening as well. And this could propagate across the Chicagoland area into southern Wisconsin, once again bringing more heavy rain, and then yet again another complex developing across the central and northern plains heading into Thursday morning. So generally within the next few days, going all the way from now until about midday on Friday, we can expect several more inches of rain from portions of Iowa, getting into southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois in spots, as well down into the Ohio Valley here, into the Mid-Atlantic here to the Atlantic coast. We could be expecting a rainfall between about 1.5 inches to about 3 or 4 inches of rain across this zone. Some more heavier rainfall up into the Northern Rockies here around Montana, getting into the western Dakotas, especially western North Dakota. We could be seeing an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain there. Very dry underneath that ridge across Texas here into portions of the Missouri Valley. Still a little bit of monsoon weather continuing across the Four Corners, and still, again, very dry across the Southwest, across California, Nevada, western portions there of Utah and Arizona as well. So the drought will continue to worsen, unfortunately, across those southern and southwestern sections of the United States. Now, as we head towards the Friday time frame, the Thursday night to Friday time frame, these boundaries will start to move southward here ever so slightly. We still got the threat maybe for some stronger storms across the Ohio Valley, getting into the Mid-Atlantic here, and some popcorn type variety storms across the Missouri Valley, getting into the southeast. Still got that monsoonal weather continuing in some shape or fashion across portions of New Mexico, getting into southern Colorado. Still a little bit of an active pattern across the Northern Rockies with some popcorn type storms with some boundaries up there as well. But let's kind of turn our attention more to the tropics here. We got, we got major Hurricane Bonnie right now. This is actually a major hurricane. This is moving to the west right now. West-northwest is 16 miles per hour, so it is moving fairly quickly for a hurricane, and it looks to hold hurricane status through the rest of the week, all the way through that Friday evening into Saturday morning time frame. So this will continue to be a hurricane, if not a major hurricane, through that time frame. Right now, the maximum sustained wind speed is 105 miles per hour, so a very robust hurricane is taking shape just south and west here of the Mexican coastlines, and then it'll be moving to, over the open waters south and west of the Baja of California here over the next several days. A closer inspection of what this looks like here in the satellite imagery, you can see a very kind of defined eye wall starting to take shape across portions of the middle of all the convection here, the stronger convection very close to that eye wall trying to form, and that is a major hurricane. You can see the blow off here, some very healthy storm organization with this. And then kind of zooming out, you can see exactly where it is to the south and west of the Mexican coast. Maybe some wave action across the coastlines here in Mexico, getting toward the Baja of California with time. Maybe some rip current risks here as as well. So definitely want to be sure if you're taking any vacations down towards the Mexican coastlines that you definitely want to heed all those warnings of the double flags down there as well, with the potential of some rip current risks as well with that storm system moving to the west. But definitely here, good news, this is moving more over open water rather than on the land of of Mexico or anything like that. So that is some good news that is mainly staying over the open waters. And like I said, the strength will continue to be hurricane status through the rest of the week, going all the way through Friday, if not Saturday time frame, because we got a lot of warm waters across the eastern Pacific here. But in the wake of this, we're going to see probably a lot of the swelling of the water here with the cooler anomalies returning here after such a major system. So we'll have to wait and see what happens in the eastern Pacific. Oh, the Gulf of Mexico is still very warm here. We still got a very warm portions across the Carolina coastlines here as well, off to the western Atlantic. A little cooler across the Caribbean here with some swelling from the recent Labani moving through that area. But I do suspect this area will actually start to warm up in the next several days. But looking at the Eastern Pacific Basin here as a whole, we are starting to get towards the middle portion of July here with time, and we're starting to get toward that peak intensity here of the season. Once we hit towards the late July and then moving especially through August, September, and October, we're definitely getting toward that peak time frame here in the Eastern Pacific Basin for tropical storm activity and even hurricanes and even major hurricanes at that. So that is something to monitor as well. And still, like, kind of looking at the July 1st through the 10th time frame for tropical, cyclone, kind of the points of origin of where these start to develop. You can see a lot of that, the origin points start to develop here off the coastline here of Mexico, from the Central America coastlines and then westward here, kind of staying over the open waters generally. We start to see more storms originating across the southern, Atlantic basin here. Still uncommon, but still a potential. More of the storms like to develop closer to land across the Gulf, the Bay of Campeche, down through the Caribbean, and then off the coastline like Colin did across portions of the Carolina coast as well as Florida. So we'll have to watch this here the next few days, but this is kind of what we're seeing here. And then kind of looking forward towards the middle and the end of July, seeing signs of what could happen on the mainland U.S. and also in the tropics. We see that ridge continuing here through that third week in July across much of the western United States here, from the Pacific Northwest down through the Four Corners and the southern and central plains. Excessive heat will be, a trend across this area through much of July. So the ongoing drought will continue to worsen across much of these areas here as we head towards that third week in July. Still seeing that active pattern across the northern plains, the Northern Rockies, getting in toward the Midwest here, kind of that ring of fire pattern. If we still have that ridge continuing across the southern and central plains into the Tennessee Valley during this period here towards the 18th period of July. Still seeing some signs of above normal precipitation along the Gulf Coast toward Florida and coastal Carolinas. Maybe some tropical moisture, fetching up into those areas with the potential for a tropical system, although I'm not seeing any signs of any major tropical system toward this time frame, but we'll definitely have to watch this. And like I said, that monsoonal weather will continue here as we head towards that third week in July as well, with the atmospheric river pushing across western Mexico and up into the southwestern U.S. Then as we head towards the very late portion of July, we're looking at the climate forecasting systems model here, kind of a mean of some of the weather models, but definitely looking at a change of fortunes for some of the portions of the U.S. here, and I'll show you that here in a moment. We got some cooler anomalies starting to build in across the Midwest, the southern Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley, maybe slightly cooler than normal here for that week of the 18th through the 25th period here of July. And still that heat wave continuing across portions of the Pacific Northwest down through the Southwest U.S., maybe some above normal temperatures across portions of Texas and the Gulf Coast region here as well. But this is actually showing above normal precipitation starting to move southward toward portions of Texas, especially into the Panhandle and then into portions of Oklahoma. So there are signs that as we head towards late July, we might actually see above normal precipitation into these areas. Probably not any drought-busting rains here because we're going to be so far in drought here across these areas. Severe, extreme, and even unfortunately exceptional drought. But this will start to chip away at some of the deficits that we've been seeing here all month long. That is likely to continue through much of July. So that is some good news. We're starting to see some indications of maybe some storm activity, some showers, activity moving into portions of the Mid-South, down into Texas, Oklahoma, especially into the Panhandle there. We may still stay dry along the coastline in Texas, along the Gulf Coast, but we'll still have to watch that. Maybe a little more active across the Intermountain West here as well during that period. So I know that's a lot to get to. Thanks everybody, for watching. Be sure to like my video here, give me a thumbs up below, leave any comments, questions below as well. I'll be able to answer any questions as soon as I possibly can. And also remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel as I'm trying to hit 200 subscribers. So please help me out, and I definitely appreciate everybody as well. I appreciate everybody that was joining me in my live stream here yesterday. I am most likely going to be doing another live stream later today covering severe weather and also the convective trends on the models here as well. So make sure to turn all your notifications on and stay tuned for that, as I'll be doing that most likely later this afternoon or early this evening. So thank you everybody for watching, and have a great Tuesday out there.